welcome to Procurement Pivots, the podcast for procurement professionals wanting to navigate change successfully and create career success on your own terms. I'm Donna Bowden, procurement career coach and founder of Narrate Your Career.
And I'm Laura Sellers, executive coach for procurement and founder of Coaching for Procurement. And between us, we bring almost 25 years of supporting and working with procurement professionals. And it's fair to say we've navigated many of our own career pivots along the way. And now we're here to help you do the same.
Each episode will share practical strategies, honest conversations, and expert insights to help you confidently tackle the changes and challenges in your procurement career.
Let's get started.
Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the Procurement Pivots podcast. I'm Laura, and I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Donna Bowden.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Good to be back.
Yes, and today we are exploring elements of procurement transformation and what it really requires from procurement leaders in today's world. So this is part of our focus on successful traits of procurement leaders, and we're going to talk less about technical elements of what procurement transformation means. That's very contextual to each person's organization. We're talking about the skills and the traits that are required in this area.
Yeah, and I guess we're focusing specifically on a particular part today, aren't we, actually? So, what we really wanted to explore, and we're really excited about exploring today, is how coaching skills can really enable kind of brilliant transformation within procurement, and how it can really, unlock great leadership, whether that's leadership of yourself, your team, the business, etc. So the kind of the primary focus really is to explore, like, actually, what does having coaching as a skill set mean for you as a procurement leader?
Yeah, great summary. And I think as well, because we talk about procurement transformation or transformation across organizations in any form, there's always the conversation about change management. And sometimes change management can still feel quite technical, even though it talks about the people. And with coaching skills, you get to go a lot more in depth. And I think the opportunity with a broadened and deepened coaching skill set for any leader, but particularly as a procurement leader who's tasked with having to get stakeholders on board, influence without authority, it's an incredibly great competitive advantage in today's world of AI, especially.
Yeah. So this is, obviously we both talk a lot about the benefits of coaching, but this is more about developing those skills for yourself, coaching skills for yourself, as opposed to necessarily being coached. And I think Laura's point there around the competitive edge, I think that is just such a good place to start, actually, because we really do see that developing and fine-tuning your own coaching ability, it really can differentiate you in what has felt like quite a crowded kind of marketplace, internally and externally, particularly at procurement leadership level.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I think as well, if we focus on, so the SIP salary guide for 2026 came out not so long ago, and the top 5 traits sought after in procurement professionals from employers are communication, negotiation, critical thinking and curiosity, supplier relationship management, and sourcing. So you've got communication and critical thinking and curiosity, and then relationship management as 3 of those top 5. And what I find really interesting about this is that how do you use that for a start? You can go in, you can say, I'm great at communicating. Communication, probably people can get that from you. But in terms of critical thinking and curiosity, I find that such an interesting one. And how would you prove that in an interview or in your leadership? Because curiosity is the bedrock of great coaching, and so coaching skills, I think, are more in demand, like we say, in today's world of AI. But we're also seeing this now in the reports, the official statistics that are coming out from a body like SIPS.
Definitely. And I think as well, I think you've made some great points there. We've spoken in detail actually about curiosity as one of those key traits as a procurement leader. That was an episode that that we recorded and published a little while ago, so do tune into that one if you haven't already. But I think we've also spoken previously about, you know, this ever-changing world that procurement's in right now. You know, it feels like it's the most complex time to be working in procurement. Like the expectations are much greater a lot of the time. Sometimes the support, the resource is not what it once was. And actually, you know, I think being able to coach those around you at a time where most people are finding, like, you know, they're operating in really, really complex situations. You know, there's a lot to navigate right now, and there's probably never been a time where actually being able to support people through coaching, or maybe, you know, mentoring, which is different, you know, being able to support those around you at such a critical time is just really key. And particularly as well, there's so many businesses now, like they're not able to invest in that internal kind of learning and development that they once did. So a lot of corporates, like they've totally switched off that support that's being offered. And so if you as a leader have that in your toolkit, it can just make the biggest difference, the biggest difference.
Absolutely. And let's just acknowledge as well, like if you are a people-focused procurement leader, you're most likely doing a lot of coaching informally on the job anyway.
Yeah.
And coaching skills can feel natural to some people. For me, going into a deeper level of understanding coaching can really have massive impacts on your team and the people that you're influencing, the people that you're building those collaborative relationships with. And I mean, to bring in a comparison in the procurement world, you know, that lovely, often frequent debate on LinkedIn when you see procurement versus purchasing, you know, what's the difference, you know? So like you've got coaching, you've got mentoring, you've got consultancy, all of which are being used informally and formally across the industry. And I think, you know, if I think back to my own journey with all this, you know, I was doing it informally for a long time, and we'll talk about our own journeys later. But I think gaining a greater understanding of actually the whole piece of coaching can really lead to transformational outcomes for people. So coming back to that procurement transformation, I don't know how you can really achieve great transformation across that without having these skills, being really honest. Like, you know, taking it to another level. And I mean, you know, informally people can already do it, but to then go in deeper can really have great impact and results for the people you're using them with.
Yeah, and I think as well, it's you know, when you think about, you know, what it is procurement leaders are doing, like often they are having to step into brand new areas of a business at a really complicated time and deliver exceptional results in spaces that they've not been before. Like actually, you know, their expertise is procurement. It's not always, you know, they don't always bring that subject matter expertise for that particular, you know, part of the business. And I think like there is this pressure, like lots of people kind of speak about, like, you know, I want to be the credible leader. I want to be the one that has the answers. But I think actually coaching gives you the ability to be comfortable with the fact that you don't need all the answers, but actually being able to ask the right questions of the right people, um, it, it it can really demonstrate your kind of confidence and your credibility through asking really brilliant questions. And again, we've spoken about different types of questions, both on curiosity and I think maybe even the feedback episode as well. But I just think, you know, being confident that you have these coaching skills, it can give you the confidence in rooms that you've not been in before, because you don't need to have all the answers, but being able to ask some really good questions can show your authority and your leadership in a different way.
I absolutely agree with that. And I think this comes up a lot in a lot of the team coaching and leadership programs that I run internally, like the impact that you can have on others by showing them that you're listening, that you're asking those great questions, that you're taking an interest, it can be really transformative for them. And, you know, for you as a leader, you know, you're bringing people along with you. And I think, you know, I think you can take it to another level when you've got that solid grounding of coaching skills. And so, you know, we can talk about formal one-to-one coaching, which both of us can do and do, where we're helping someone to achieve a goal. But for me, the impact is much wider in procurement. Like you say, you're often having to step into these rooms. And for many of the procurement leaders that we work with, they might be taking their function to a place where it's never been before. So you've got to work on that buy-in and also bringing people along, but helping people to overcome their own obstacles. So there's such a wide reaching range of these skills, and it's really powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have as well. Like I've supported procurement leaders as coaching clients, and they have, some of them have formal qualifications in coaching, and I always love those conversations. You know, and I love to kind of delve into, you know, how has that qualification enabled them to do their role better, and actually, I mean, their ability to communicate is just elevated. Their relationship building, you know, again, that is just one of the most critical parts, you know, of delivering procurement successfully in today's world. And it just strengthens all of that. It really, really does. And, you know, certainly, you know, from recent conversations with recent clients, you know, they can see like really tangible results, commercial tangible results, from how they've gone about approaching work-based challenges in a very different way. Like so many of them have spoken about, you know, how they've used it to get those difficult stakeholders on board, you know, how they've used it to turn around underperforming functions, or, you know, underperforming individuals within their team. It's, you know, this is not, I think sometimes when people hear about coaching, they're kind of thinking of like, you know, airy fairy. Like this is, you know, these are skills that can enable you to deliver significantly greater commercial outcomes through using, you know, this skill. Like I think it's, you know, it can lead to commercial results when you do this really well. And I think that is important to acknowledge, because it's not just a fluffy, nice to have kind of, you know, oh, how lovely if everyone would, you know, have these coaching skills. Like actually, this is about being able to deliver better commercial outcomes for the business.
That is such a great point. I mean, I could bring up so many examples around when somebody has managed to get through the door of the trickiest of stakeholders and get control of the spend in marketing, for example, where they've all of a sudden been able to save, you know, at least six figures in the spend in those areas. And I think, like you say, those commercial outcomes, and it's not just airy fairy stuff. It's like, I think what coaching really gives you the ability to do is to meet the person where they are. If you've got a person in your team or in your sphere who you're using these skills with, and they are very data driven, you can meet them with that by asking great questions, by using particular coaching techniques. If you've got a person who does need that friendly approach, it also allows you to do that. It's not just airy fairy stuff. It's about tailoring. And actually, you know, I've got a client who was, I wouldn't say they were cynical, but they were very honest about how much it was going to help them, you know, because but they brought themselves to every session. They absolutely brought their full selves, which I think somebody being coached does need to do, but they were unsure of the outcome. And then they actually said to me, they called me up at the end and they said, I just want to say, like, you really understand me. And I was, you know, I was unsure about what it was going to do, but you know, I it's really had an impact. And imagine being able to have that impact on people in your circle, in your wider influence range in that organization, because people will always remember the way you've made them feel.
Totally. Yeah. I'm smiling because I hear this a lot. Like I think you know, because of my background prior to, you know, setting up my career coaching practice, because of the recruitment, I think people, you know, they come to me because they're at this transitional point. And I think they know I'm going to be able to help them with their CV and their LinkedIn and stuff like that. But actually, the comments that often come back, they're like, this is so much like better, deeper than I ever really kind of expected. Like I don't think they have come to me thinking like this is going to be a process where I'm going to get to understand myself better and understand how I approach situations better and understand how I can communicate better, you know, and yeah, it changes so much, doesn't it? So I mean, we've both got countless examples of the benefits of, of being coached. And so I think, for people tuning in, like as Laura said before, you're probably at different stages in your journey with this. Some of you, like I know, so many incredible procurement leaders that have never had any formal training on coaching, but they are coaching. They're coaching people around them day to day informally, and they're doing it really well. Some people may have had training on this. They may have, some of you might have even, done some form of coaching qualification. But yeah, the transformation that can result from it can be huge,
Yeah.
like life changing if it's for an individual, but also, you know, it can really, it can change careers and it can change procurement functions
Yeah,
significantly.
absolutely. And all of us can benefit, even having the skills yourself. You benefit from having reframes in conversations, in coaching
Yeah,
conversations with others. So yeah, the ripple effects are huge. And like you said
yeah,
earlier, commercially, those
yeah.
ripple effects also exist.
Mm. What do you think, like, I mean, obviously, procurement is constantly, having difficult discussions internally and externally, with stakeholders, with suppliers as well. So like actually, like this is me kind of thinking out loud, but when a procurement professional has really kind of focused on developing their own coaching skills, what's your view, do you think, of like how that might show up in a commercial negotiation actually? How do you think that might impact?
Well, I think there's that active listening. There's that also being aware of your own thoughts and behavior moving into that negotiation. It can really leave you feeling empowered. A lot of the time there's power dynamics, right, that come into this when you're in a negotiation, and how a procurement leader feels about their own power and
Mm,
empowerment within those conversations. I think coaching skills can really help with that, to ground yourself, to reflect,
yeah,
to be able to see where the other person's coming from.
yeah,
I mean, you know what? Like, it's a great question. I'm pleased that you brought up the negotiation piece, because in negotiation training or tips and tricks, you hear people talk about holding the silence. And holding the silence in coaching is also very powerful. And they probably have different purposes. Between a
mm,
negotiation, holding the silence, you don't want
yeah,
to be the first
yeah,
one to cave.
yeah, yeah,
And actually, holding the silence in a coaching conversation is enabling that person to think through and to see something
yeah,
differently, and to withhold giving them the answer, even if you know it. And so, what I also think this does, it enables you to be adaptable in
mm,
your leadership, whether you need to hold the silence in a negotiation
yeah,
context or whether you need to do it in a coaching context, both of which, having those coaching skills will enable you to build better partnerships and relationships.
totally.
So
Uh,
so much to go
yeah.
into there. Go for
Yeah,
it.
and I think as well, if you're going into that negotiation having already built the start of some really positive, partnership based, like relationships with that supplier, like I think actually you're entering that conversation, both parties are entering that conversation from a very different place as well, aren't you?
Absolutely. I think, yeah, it's powerful. I can't say enough like how much like coaching as a skill set, how I've benefited from it myself, how my clients and other colleagues, other
Yeah,
coaching peers that I know, it can really take you on a journey and help you to be more intentional in the way that you do things in your
yeah,
career.
absolutely. So we thought it might be like useful just to kind of almost, I suppose just share a little bit of our own experience, because we are two individuals that have come together to form the Procurement Pivots partnership, but we've come from very different backgrounds, very, very different backgrounds. We were both supporting procurement in very different ways, but actually had both also been coaching and mentoring informally for a long time in different ways in our careers. So, I worked as a recruitment leader for 20 something years. So I managed recruitment teams of consultants for, probably like 20 plus years. So actually over that time frame, very much, a lot of what I would do with individuals on my team would be, coaching and mentoring them through the kind of different stages in their career. But also from a candidate perspective, there was a lot of kind of, candidate support of procurement leaders. Like second half of my recruitment career was supporting procurement leaders, and a lot of coaching them through, challenging recruitment processes, helping them to navigate insecurities, confidence concerns. And for me personally, like actually when I finally started asking myself some of those really important questions that now I ask my clients, on a daily basis, what did I most enjoy? Like actually when I looked at the work I was doing in recruitment, it was that kind of support that I loved, which is why I then decided to kind of almost strip that part out and do much, much more of it, and set up my business, and do kind of a variety of coaching training, executive and career coaching training. And for me, like the transformation that I've seen in the clients that I've supported has been incredible actually at times. Like for some of them, in their words, not my words, because it's their transformation, but it's been life changing for many of them. Like, and it's, I don't, it's not about the get the job. I think that's what I'm known for, probably. But, the real transformations is how those people see themselves differently now, how they show up differently now, how they articulate their value so much differently now. Like that's, and the belief now that they can go on to do what they want to go on and do, and they can feel excited about their career again when they'd stagnated. And I think the client transformation through coaching has, has, it speaks for itself in a way. But actually I think for me as well, and I now have the ability to coach myself, like through what I've learned. And I'm not sure that I would be where I am in the business. Like it's hard when you set up a business, like actually, and that's a pivot that I've chosen to do. But it's not easy. Like a senior procurement career right now, it's not easy. Like very few things are easy. And I think actually when you've got those tools to support yourself as well through the ups and downs, like it just makes such a massive difference, and it helps you to really keep the focus of what's most important to you, and just being really intentional with how you choose to spend your time and what it is you're focusing on. So, my kind of comment to anyone listening is, actually, understanding coaching more than just informally coaching people can give you a lot of power as an individual, and a lot of confidence, and a lot more self-belief. And like it's been a game changer for me personally, and it's been a game changer for the clients that I've supported. So I mean I just think it's an incredible skill. And actually the Big Four, there's been some really interesting reports around like the proven kind of results that organisations can get from having coaching skills within their businesses. And this is why coaching is one of the fastest growth industries, or professions, and as a skill set, it's one of the fastest growing skill sets, because I think people and companies are really starting to see the like tangible benefit that this can actually bring. What about
Yeah.
you? Look, oh, sorry, you was going to say something.
And just to add to that, I remember seeing a stat a long time ago, but forgive me because I can't remember the source of it. I'd have to go look it up. But something like being able to have these skills can impact the bottom line by 30%, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
crazy, you know.
yeah,
So yeah, I
yeah,
absolutely agree. And what a journey you've been on, like you say, like and I fully share that view, because I think learning to coach, you know, people who are doing these skills care about people and care about people being supported, but
yeah,
we can't overlook the power or the empowerment it gives you, like the confidence it gives you actually adopt that coaching mindset for yourself and to self-coach, because my journey that has helped me as well.
yeah.
So like you shared earlier, like our journeys are different. We've definitely got lots of synergies, so we know that.
Lots. Yeah,
But so for me, it goes back to 2013. I was working in a procurement organization, and as I developed in my career there, it was always around trying to bring people along. And then I eventually became responsible for, I was like the leadership sponsor for employee engagement across the procurement teams. And then COVID came along, and that's when I started to realize that, well, one leadership style doesn't work for everybody. I had people who were working from home, sourcing equipment for the NHS, and we're juggling having the children at home. There are others who are living alone and feeling isolated. I myself was going through. I think I was the only leadership team member, female leadership team member, who was juggling family life. So I sort of was able to sort of relate that to the teams, or with young children. Sorry, with very young children. My children were 2 and 5 at the time, so they were very, very dependent on me.
yeah,
And so it was incredibly hard. And I was sat here going, gosh, we all need different things. The same
yeah,
approach isn't going to work for everybody. So that's when I really started to explore what that meant and how I could get better at that. And that's when I came across coaching. Like I actually didn't, I was doing a lot of it informally, but I didn't actually know about the breadth and the depth that a coaching qualification can give you. Like, because
yeah,
like I say, bring up the purchasing and procurement argument again, like mentoring versus coaching is actually incredibly very different.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so that's how I started my journey, and then obviously set up the business. And I think having that coaching mindset and that skill set enabled me to have the courage to be more
yeah,
intentional in my career. And like you said, it drives a lot of the decisions that we both make in our day to day. We're better
yeah,
at enforcing our boundaries. We understand
yeah,
ourselves so much
yeah,
more. And I think learning to coach isn't just about learning to support others. You go through your own transformative journey in
yeah,
understanding yourself. And the more you understand yourself, the more you
yeah,
understand others.
yeah. And I think that's a really good point, and it's definitely one that we've spoken about this so many times, but yeah, just life is so busy, and so you know, understanding yourself requires time and thought and reflection and space, and that can feel like a luxury for a lot of people, but I think actually it really enables you to understand the real importance of that. And actually, like, we do have time, we choose how we use our time. Actually it makes you realize like the importance of prioritizing that time to think over other things, and not just always, ignoring that, and just giving yourself some of that space to really be able to kind of think think through kind of decisions, etc. So I think, also for me, like, I now really understand, like, if I want to keep growing, having that intentional time to think about how to do it is just really, really important.
Yeah. And I think as well, just to circle back, oh, lovely corporate term there, to the beginning when we were talking about how you prove these skills to employers who are
Yes.
looking for these skills of critical thinking and curiosity. One thing about learning to coach is that you don't just learn a theory. We can all learn a theory, right?
Yeah.
We've got information at our fingertips for
Yeah.
anything. And it's not about just learning the theory, it's around how we use it. And so when you learn to coach, not only do you learn the theory, but you're then in a position to practice a theory, to then reflect on the practice
Yeah.
and to build your own coaching practice and knowledge and experience and expertise.
Yeah, definitely.
It's part of the
Definitely.
qualification.
Yeah. So, well, that probably leads us on quite nicely whilst we're talking about qualifications, because I think something that some people probably listening don't know about you and what you do is that you actually do help individuals um, to formally gain those coaching skills and qualifications, don't you?
Mm. Yeah, I do indeed. So my reason for doing this was when I first, apart from the fact how transformative it's been for me,
Mm.
was also because these skills that have been expected of procurement in today's world are very much coaching skills. And I think they can be very transformative, but I also believe that there are already people in every procurement team already doing a lot of this informally without the support for how to do it well and to look after themselves.
Mm.
Because when you are the person that people go to in your team, you can often take on all of
Yeah.
those people's problems, and that can lead to burnout. So it was a way of providing support and building internal capability within procurement teams and
Mm.
to build a coaching culture. I I not only believe, but I know that procurement are in a great position to lead on culture within organizations. I work with some teams who do this brilliantly.
Mm.
So yeah, I do. I am a ILM approved training center to
Yeah.
deliver coaching qualifications. So that's a globally recognized qualification that I offer. And I will be running a cohort in September.
Oh, tell us more.
Yes, yes. So I will be guiding some people-orientated procurement leaders and managers through their coaching qualification. It is as I say, a globally recognized qualification that will serve you strategically for the long term of your career, no matter where you go. So it's not just limited to using a procurement context, but what it does do is it brings procurement people together to share the challenges and to build that coaching mindset and approach within procurement. It helps you to build your network. And yeah, it's going to be quite a journey. We're going to be doing that on a weekly basis, and you will be supported to go through and complete your coaching qualification with
Yeah.
somebody who's been doing this full time
Yeah.
for quite a while across lots of different industries and categories, public and private sector.
Brilliant. It sounds amazing. And yeah, I think, I mean, certainly, I have had conversations with many procurement leaders that are doing this informally and have thought about actually, do I want to kind of, continue to develop my capability and my ability in this space? So yeah, I know it will be absolutely amazing. So definitely would recommend getting in touch with Laura about this. So yeah, hopefully today has been a useful episode just to really think about actually, this kind of different way actually of driving the transformation that most people are hoping to achieve in the procurement space. It's not spoken about, I don't think that regularly, but it can just make the biggest of difference.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's we're very obviously very passionate about it, and we are so dedicated to helping people to elevate their impact in their procurement careers and in their
Yeah.
leadership, and this skill set is of coaching is a huge part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, if you think actually Laura's kind of ILM cohort might be of interest, get in touch with her.
Yes.
And and also I think to add, if you would like to explore how we as Procurement Pivots or us individually could support you or your team, then feel free to get in touch with us. We now have an email address as Procurement Pivots, which is very exciting. So hello@procurementpivots.com. I think that's the first time maybe I've shared that publicly. And how, if someone is interested, Laura, in the ILM piece, how should they reach you?
Absolutely. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Laura Sellers MSIPs, and then also my email address is hello@coachingforprocurement.co.uk.
Fab. Great. Well, do let us know your feedback. As always, we love to hear the feedback, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Procurement Pivots. We hope today's episode gave you actionable tips to help you to continue to move forward in your procurement career.
If you enjoyed the conversation, follow our episodes, share them with others, and please support us on our social media channels for others that might be interested to tune in.